there was an idea to bring together a couple of regular podcasters to see if they could talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We call it the Disney A Initiative.
It's a Disney A special presentation.
That was my dramatic music.
Oh, lovely. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta. This is our second special presentation.
It is, yes. This one will be less spooky and more festive.
Ho, ho, ho.
Because we're going to talk about what Christmas means to us.
Stealing celebrities.
Yeah.
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking. And,
kidnapping Kevin Bacon.
Giving children weapons for Christmas.
Children?
Yeah.
Who do they give weapons to?
We'll talk about that at the end.
I was like, what children?
Little Star-Lord got his, his guns for Christmas.
He was a child then, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay, before we do that, what on earth are we talking about?
We are talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Ho, ho, ho.
Because nothing says awesome like space opera doing a holiday special.
Yet
right?
Nothing bad could possibly happen there.
So
no one could see me doing side-eye, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
James Gunn, the director of this and all the Guardians movies, said that he was a big fan of the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I don't believe him.
Ironically.
Ironically, or maybe like a fan of the idea.
Yeah. Anyway, he said he's a big fan of the Star Wars Holiday Special, and that's what his inspiration was for doing this.
This is different.
It's watchable, first of all.
Yeah. So we're not gonna, this is a special presentation, so we're not doing the whole shebang that we normally do. But Brandon, we are each having a little festive drink here.
Well, you gotta have a festive drink for your festive holiday special.
Exactly. So what are you drinking?
I have a nice New Zealand Pale Ale.
Nice.
Very festive.
Apparently.
I guess.
The can is partly red. That counts.
Sure. I don't know. It's delicious.
Well, my drink is festive.
I have a Christmas morning beer every year, so we'll pretend that's like what this is. Yeah.
That's what I thought you were going to go with, yep. I am drinking peppermint bark rum chata on ice. It is delicious.
Very festive.
It tastes really good.
You win the festive award. Ooh,
I do.
This beer is delicious, though.
Mine is more delicious and more festive, so I still win.
I only have peppermint in gum or
toothpaste.
Not my beverages. Thank you.
I love peppermint. It's like the pumpkin spice of December.
Not selling it for me. Anyway.
Okay. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. This is your spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about it. This is going to be a short episode.
Yeah, very short.
Let's start right off. What do you think?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
The inspiration is great. You got just like your old... it's like kind of like what you would see back in the day before they had videotapes and stuff. And tie-ins to movies they would play on TV, they would have holiday specials, and that's why there was a Star Wars holiday special. But yeah, like this is a good throwback to that, and I think it's awesome.
I think it worked really well. It's short, first of all. What, 45 minutes, something like that?
Yeah, it's like about 45 minutes. Yeah.
We've seen it twice now.
Yeah.
And I actually would not be mad if we put it on again.
Yeah,
like it's just fun.
It's very watchable.
Like,
There's a couple musical numbers.
Right, we actually start with a musical number. Well, we start with an animated moment.
Yeah, so
let's actually walk through this here.
Okay, so it comes on and it's animated, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And it's this like old school, like kind of bad animation that like really evokes your 70s holiday special.
Like you're expecting Boba Fett to show up at any moment here.
Yeah, and it's just awesome. And we find out that it's Kraglin, who's Yondu's second in command from the movies, who's taken over his magic whistle arrow.
Right.
And he's telling a story about Christmas and Peter's first Christmas after being kidnapped.
Yeah, he's like a kid, and he and Craiglin are like starting a Christmas tree, and they're like wrapping presents, and Yondu shows up.
And Yondu does not think this is a very good idea.
No, he says like it sounds like charity. He says, well, no, it's not. And he says, then it makes you soft, and I hate Christmas. And he throws everything. He tells them to throw everything away. This is bad. Christmas bad.
Christmas bad, and so that's how Yondu ruined Christmas. And he's telling the story, and all the other Guardians, especially Drax and Mantis, feel really, really bad about this.
And we find out something here, though. So we switch to our live action when they're feeling bad. We find out they have bought, is that right? Or taken over, or
they own somehow. That not explained, but they bought Nowhere from the Collector.
Yes.
Which is the planet head of Celestial.
You're right.
From the original Guardians movie where they went and saw the Collector.
Right. And Nebula, I think, says like, yeah, we have so much to do. I mean, that's sad, but you know, he had a point. Like, we're busy. We're too busy for Christmas.
She's not a sentimental person, so.
So she goes off, and Craiglin goes off too. Like, they've got work to do, and they're watching Star-Lord wander around, and they're like, yeah, and he's been really sad since Gamora took off, right? And that's, of course, referring to the events of Endgame at the end, where we now have Gamora, but we have old Gamora who doesn't have the connection with him.
Yeah, she's alternate universe Gamora, because our Gamora is dead the Soul Stone. Sad.
Okay, so they're like, yeah, he's been really busy and he hasn't quite been himself. So then we find out there's a conversation between Mantis and Drax where they decide they want to, if they bring Christmas to him, Peter might feel better.
And they need to get a really good Christmas present.
Yes, and we find out Mantis has a special reason.
Yes, well, this was hinted to in Guardians 2, but she is Peter's half-sister because Ego had lots of children.
Yeah, he had lots of children.
Killed most of them,
but apparently he kept Mantis around. Mantis was helpful for him.
She had powers and did good stuff, so... Mind powers.
Nice.
That's a good Christmas
That's
reference.
a good
there
Christmas
you go.
reference like that. So she says that Drax is the only one who knows the secret. I always love the relationship between Drax and Mantis because they're just friends, but they just are so mean to each other, but like in the most loving way possible.
Well, neither of them they're both very blunt and like don't understand sarcasm or
like metaphor at all.
Like so they work really well together.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny.
It is.
So like a lot of this is like a buddy road trip movie between those two.
Yes. So they decide they need a really good Christmas present for Peter. She says she feels responsible for trying to give him a good Christmas to make up for his sadness because of being his half sister, and Peter doesn't know this. She says she doesn't want him to hate her because of like his mother dying and because they share the father who like was responsible for this.
Yeah, not a good guy, that Ego.
No, Ego kind of sucked actually. Yeah. So anyway, they decide the best Christmas present, the thing Peter has always talked about. He's always loved.
The greatest hero in the universe.
Who saved the town from with dancing.
Kevin Bacon.
So they decide they're going to go to Earth and get Kevin Bacon as a Christmas present for Peter. And this is where a lot of the like hijinks ensue.
Yeah, it's some slapstick comedy, and Kevin Bacon is playing himself, and they kidnap Kevin Bacon, which is just...
And you also have them like trying to figure out Earth, and like Drax forgets to put on the cloaking device, and people freak out, and they're like wandering around in front of the Chinese theater, and people are like taking their pictures, so they're getting money, and then they go to a club where they're dancing, and it's just lots of craziness.
Get really drunk, and
they get so drunk. Okay, Mantis twerking is like oh, actually her doing shots because she does like she's still an alien, so she's doing like a lizard to begin with and then just shoots it, and she's like, another.
Breathes fire, like the whiskey like reacts, and she's breathing like smoking out of her mouth, but she really likes it. So.
Yeah. So Mantis goes dancing. Drax says dancing is for the weak, which is interesting because he has a whole conversation about dancing. Is that part 2?
No, this is the first one.
When he says people dance or people don't dance. Apparently he's a don't dancer.
Yeah, no. So he has a couple talks about dancing, because Peter talks about how we're going to save the universe with dancing, and he's like that. And then I think with Mantis, he talks about people who dance and don't dance. I don't know.
Right. So he's asked to dance, and he says, no, dancing is for the weak, but he is very willing to drink.
He does like drinking.
And then I love the image, and I think it's actually the title image of Drax and Mantis, like, almost passed out, sitting on the curb in front of the club, and they have, they're just ridiculous looking. Mantis also is terrifying in this special.
Yeah, well, she's apparently like a martial arts master, because she like beats up some cops. But while they're chasing Kevin Bacon, she like turns into like creepy xenomorph alien style, like bouncing off walls and stuff, and that's terrifying.
Also, this moment where before they go find where Kevin Bacon lives, there's a woman selling maps to the stars, right? And she says, oh, it's, $40 or something. And she says, and then she touches, she's like, you want to give it to me for free? And she said, sure, here you go. She's like, you want to give me all your money? And sure, here you go. And I'm like, well, that's terrifying. Like, there's so many levels of horrifying to Mantis here.
Well, one of the best Marvel villains was in season 1 of Jessica Jones, and he basically had the same powers, and he was terrifying.
Really good point. But also didn't turn into a weird xenomorph. I'm gonna like run on walls to catch you. Yeah. So this is like a different level completely.
She's scary. It's a good thing she's like got a heart of gold.
Yeah. Otherwise this could be very bad.
Very bad.
She uses her powers to try and get her half-brother a Christmas present, as opposed to for evil. Like,
still human trafficking, but that's fine.
Yeah, we get to that. So them chasing Kevin Bacon is hilarious. And breaking into his house. Also, he is weirdly nonplussed about alien-looking creatures ringing his doorbell.
I mean, aliens are like a thing in the MCU,
true.
so
that's true.
I don't know.
Drax and Mantis, I think they might still be half drunk when they track down Kevin Bacon.
Definitely.
And they're walking up to his, also, which is fun, when he's on the phone talking to his wife, it's actually his wife. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that. And he's like setting up for Christmas, and he's by himself, and they like ring his doorbell, and Drax throws Mantis over his giant gated wall. And I love their back and forth. They just yell at each other all the time.
She's trying to think of a plan to get to Kevin Bacon, and she's like, well, what if you could throw me over the gate? And then he just does. And that's funny.
Yeah, it's great. So she takes a giant candy cane decoration, and he takes it's like an elf. Mm-hmm. Right?
One of those like blow up inflatable elves.
And they love them.
They love their Christmas decorations because they've never seen Christmas decorations before.
And this is fantastic.
Drax really wants his funny little man.
Yeah, this is a funny little man. So then they proceed to break into Kevin Bacon's house and chase him around, and Kevin Bacon is like throwing the tree down as an obstacle and like running out the door, and they're leaping like crazy, catching up to him, and Drax forgets his funny little man. It's very sad.
Very sad, yes.
So he's debating whether he wants to try and catch up to Kevin Bacon or go back for his funny little man.
He wants the funny little man.
And then Mantis yells at him, so they go and they catch Kevin Bacon. He's called the cops. They like beat up a bunch of cops. Mantis gives one of the cops that Drax causes a car accident, and she gives him the candy cane and says, "We are even now," because I like this. And I'm giving it to
like,
you.
I'm sorry you almost died. Here's this candy cane.
We are even now. And they're like, okay, because they're terrified. And she's like, right. My friend is being stupid.
They've definitely pooped in their pants, and they're hanging upside down in their car. And like, you have to think about this in terms of, this is the MCU. Superheroes and supervillains are real things that people have to deal with on a daily basis. It would really suck being a cop.
It would suck so bad being a cop. Like, they're like, oh, it's fine, like a weird people are just chasing Kevin like a celebrity. It's fine. We'll go and oh my god, it's an alien.
No,
okay.
they're super powered. Oh no.
So they're like, yes, the candy cane, even, definitely even. They're so even. And she like thinks this is fine. She's like, well, I really like this, but I feel bad, so you can have it, and we're even now. We're like, okay. And then she's like, my friend is being stupid. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
So she then uses her terrifying mind powers on Kevin Bacon and is like, "You want to come with us?" And he's like, "This sounds great. Let's go on an adventure. Let's do this." And he's here for it. So then he's in they also break into a Christmas decor shop and steal all the lights and decorations and everything. So it shows them it's great. And they're in the ship and he's in the middle. And is Mantis flying? I think Mantis is flying, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're kind of talking with him a little bit about Christmas. And they say, "Well, tell us about the time you saved a town from dancing." He says, "No, that's a character I played." And they're like, "Well, how about, like," so they're asking him about his roles. And then they realize he's an actor.
Which is, like, just the worst thing in the world.
It's repugnant to them. They start, like, fake gagging. No, I think they're real gagging, actually.
They get very, very angry about him being an actor, which is hilarious because they're all actors, of course. And
yes,
it's
like
so
funny.
A multi-layered thing.
So they decide that he has to act like a real hero, not a lame actor. So he's like, all right. So Mantis, again, uses her powers on him. So they show up on nowhere. And we cut to Groot getting... Yeah, it's Groot. Gets Peter's attention. And so Peter follows Groot out. And you go in, as he's walking, everyone is in on it. Like, Nebula's in on it. And of course, you've got Drax and you've got Kraglin and everyone. And as he's walking, they're turning on lights like crazy. And there's like a snow machine. And because, of course, they've stolen all the stuff.
Yeah, they got like some Snope going on.
Yeah, Snope.
Snope.
And they wheel out a present. And he's like, oh my goodness. He's like beside himself. He's like, what'd you guys do? And then the present starts moving.
And talking and shouting.
And he's like, you guys forgot to put air holes.
So, yeah, Star-Lord's very concerned at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Unwraps Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
And says,
"What did you do?
What did you do?" Kevin Bacon, of course, is still mind-controlled at this point and is very happy about the situation.
Yeah, he says, no, I gotta tell you, like, I'm feeling really good about this. These guys are, like, really nice. And right away he looks at Mantis, he's like, did you use your powers on him? I don't remember. Fix it. So he does, and then he starts screaming and runs away, to which Nebula loads up her gun and is like, you can't hide from me, Bacon, and goes after him.
He's like, don't kill him!
Don't shoot Kevin Bacon.
Oh.
So, but it's great because Peter explains that a human is not a Christmas present. That is called human trafficking.
Yeah, and yes, it is.
So, Kraglin agrees he's going to take Kevin Bacon home, but while he's doing that, he's just saying, like, you know, he's apologizing kind of on behalf of them and saying, you know, Peter left when he was a kid and he's always looked up to Kevin Bacon. And he says, you saved a town from in your movie. So he even acknowledges he's an actor. He knows this. Kraglin's actually much more smart than anyone gives him credit for.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see that in the next Guardians movie.
Which everything will be totally fine and nothing bad will happen whatsoever.
Well, I do have to say, this special, as we're going through the plot and stuff, is actually, compared to Werewolf by Night, which was awesome, is more linked up with the MCU.
That's true.
Because it's directly related to Guardians 3.
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
It's less standalone. They're talking a lot about setting stuff up, and
I feel like you could watch.
You don't have to.
3
You don't
without
have to
watching
watch
this,
it,
but it does link in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big reveal, of course, being Mantis and Peter being related. So, like, that's just setting up another layer of connection between characters. So when nothing bad happens whatsoever, it'll be fine. It's fine. Stop. They can't see you frowning and shaking your head at me, okay?
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
You know what's awesome? How fun and funny the Guardians movies are, and then nothing bad ever happens.
No,
and it's not
nothing
sad.
sad.
Well, I mean, Yondu died.
I cried at Yondu.
Yondu
Okay?
died,
I
but
cried at Yondu.
That's the only bad thing that'll ever happen in a Guardians
Only thing
movie.
ever. Yeah, this is, yeah. So anyway, Kraglin and Kevin Bacon, he says, like, you may have saved a town in your movie through dancing, but once Peter saved the whole galaxy, and he's actually like a hero because he looked up to you. So then it's funny because he actually, Kevin Bacon gets a phone call from his wife, and he says, I'm going to be a little late for Christmas, and he makes jokes about how they can get reception out in space. That's fun.
I mean, Bruce got reception out in space as well.
Well, that was a question, so I like that they actually addressed that here, right? And he's there,
you
like,
just need a good satellite dish on your spaceship.
A few good satellite dishes, and you're fine.
It's all good.
And he's
all
like,
good.
oh, okay. So he says, I'm going to be a little bit, some people here need to learn about Christmas.
It's going to teach them the meaning of Christmas
Yes,
through the
through
power of song.
So we have first of all, as every Guardians movie, the soundtrack is amazing. And we have two great songs. We open with one. We have I think it's called the Old 97ers.
The old
97s?
97s, yeah, or 67s.
Something. Anyway, they're
Something
like they do in full alien gear at the beginning.
They're a real band,
Yes.
but they're in full makeup as aliens.
Yes, and at the opening, right after we see the animated thing, they talk to Peter and they say, we just found these Earth instruments here on Nowhere. And we've been playing around with them, and also Kraglyn's been telling us
Old 97s.
Old 97s, thank you. So we've heard some stuff about Christmas, and we understand that it's about to be Christmas. But we've gotten information from, Rocket and Kraglin and
Cosmo the dog.
Cosmo the dog.
So it was this whole game of telephone where Peter was telling Kraglin, who told Rocket, who told Cosmo,
who told the Old 97s.
Yeah.
And so we want to see what we've got with Christmas, and it's all so warped. It's this great song, first of all, but it talks about like he'll shoot missiles at your toes instead of mistletoe, and it's great. Anyway, highly recommend, and it is on Spotify. So that opens.
It actually did pretty well on Spotify,
Did it really?
like on the charts. Yeah,
that's fantastic because I actually really like it.
It's a catchy song.
Yeah, there's this great music throughout the whole thing, and music's is such a role in Guardians I think that's really significant.
That's an original.
That one is an original, and then at the end, because Kevin Bacon is in a band, so Kevin Bacon performs with the Old 97s when he comes to teach them the meaning of Christmas through song, and he sings like another great Christmas song actually, and another original one about how like it's Christmas time basically, and you're all gonna hang out together and like be friends and just be like, we'll worry about stuff later. Right now, we're just gonna enjoy Christmas time. My very favorite moment of this. No, I have so many favorite moments of this. So he's playing with them, singing, and people are exchanging gifts. I want to know where Nebula got Bucky's arm from to give to Rocket.
Like, part of me wants to say it's just a movie. Don't worry so much. Kind of like a Mystery Science Theater.
I know.
But it's the MCU, and like, what?
Did he get a new arm? Maybe he got a new arm.
Did Nebula go to Earth and steal his arm?
Or is it like a replica, like an homage? Because Rocket said he wanted that arm. In the middle of the battle, he's like, I'm going to get that arm. And he does. Nebula gives him the arm for Christmas.
Did she go down to Wakanda and say,
hey, can you make me this
hey,
arm?
Shuri, can I have another arm? My buddy Rocket really wants it.
I love that. So I like that one a lot. I think it's really cute that Dog gives it to Kraglin, right? Like the little alien rat.
Yeah.
And she's so proud of it, and he's like,
yeah. So Cosmo is from the comics, kind of based on like the Russian testing of.
So Cosmo has a Russian accent as well.
Yes, Russian accent. It's male dog. The voiceover is female.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Anyway, but it somehow in space the dog was like hit with, I don't know, gamma radiation or something, and now has like mind powers, telekinetic powers,
which is
basically.
super cool.
And also a voice box kind of similar to Doug.
Very similar to Doug, and it's shown working with Rocket to try and control the telekinesis.
When they're rebuilding Nowhere, he uses his powers.
Right. So she's very proud of herself for bringing the little alien space rat to Kraglin. He's like, great.
Thanks.
I also really so we saw in the I Am Groot shorts, Groot is very crafty, and he makes like clay models.
No, they're wood.
Are they wood? Oh, because he's made of wood. Oh my god.
It's not clay, it's wood.
Wood. He makes wood carvings of this like characters from the story that he gives everyone as presents. So the one he gives Drax is Drax flipping over the cop car. But then my favorite is Kraglin opening his present while he's sitting there.
Yeah. The wood carving is him sitting there holding the wood carving while he's holding the wood carving while he's holding the wood carving.
Yeah, it's like one of those. Yeah.
There's like, it's 6 layers deep of wood carvings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like that one. But yeah, everyone gives each other presents while Kevin Bacon is singing, which is fantastic. And then at the end, they do take Kevin Bacon back to Earth, and he says, see you at Easter. And I was like, what's that? Ha ha ha. Because everyone will still be fine at Easter.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. And then Mantis and Peter have a conversation, and Peter's like, why did you want to do this for me? And Mantis does admit that she is his sister, his half-sister. And what is interesting here, and this is actually like a really nice moment. I got emotional watching this, okay? Because
you cried. You fully cried, yeah.
Mantis is an empath, but this is her own emotions that she's feeling, and she's crying, and she's trying to confess, and she feels like he's gonna hate her now because she's worried that every time he looks at her, he's gonna see ego. But she says, they had the same father, so he's like, wait, that makes you my sister. That is the best Christmas present I could ever have. Because he's been missing connections. He's been missing family.
He doesn't have family.
He doesn't have family. But now he does.
Now he does. Well, it's a recurring theme in the MCU, daddy issues and all that. He missed his mom. His mom was dying of cancer, and then he got kidnapped into space.
Yeah.
And he was raised by space pirates.
Yeah.
Not the best childhood in the world.
Daddy.
and
then Yondu dies.
And then he meets his real father, who is a galactic psychopath.
Yeah, and he has to kill him.
And then meanwhile his other father figure dies in space. Yeah.
While saving him.
He's got problems, and he just needs family.
Yeah, well, and his whole thing, even when we saw this in Thor Love and Thunder, he says he exists, his purpose now is the family he has created, which is the Guardians. And even that, Gamora is gone, and so if him having this connection with Mantis is that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool, and that's a really nice moment. And then he does say, though, Kraglin didn't get the whole story, and we go back to animated. And this is where I really started to cry. So we find out that animated Yondu now, found the tree and all the presents and stuff like that thrown out. And one was addressed to Yondu. One also addressed to Taserface.
Yes. Good little Easter egg. Taserface. It's metaphorical.
Oh, speaking of Easter eggs, before we get into this, there were other Easter eggs when he was on Earth.
Yeah, there was quite a few Kingo references. Kingo had a Christmas special as well.
That's true. And a bar and the club that they were dancing at. That was their club, or was it?
That wasn't a Kingo reference. The bar, but there was different posters from his movies. Was the big one.
It was great.
But there was a Christmas special. So yeah, I guess he had filmed a lot of things before he got taken away by the Celestial there at the end of Eternals.
To the Celestial.
Which is good because the Eternals was not very well received, but the fact that they're going to keep up with it, bring them back
they didn't just throw it out.
Yeah. Because that could have been very easily done, just meh.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I maintain, I said it before, I think it would have been better on Disney Plus as a series than a movie.
Yes, it definitely needed with all those characters for sure. Anyway,
Anyway, that was cool. So there's lots of little Easter eggs in this, as well as nods to other Christmas movies. Like Mantis looks at Drax at one point and calls him a little jerk, off of Home Alone. And there's all these little nods throughout the whole thing. But anyway, we get to the end and we go back to animated Yondu, and he opens the present, and it's a little figure. You know how Yondu has on his spaceship.
It's the start of his figurine collection.
Which was oh my goodness. And then Peter goes into his room, and there's a present sitting on his bed.
Yeah. And
he opens it up, and it's his guns.
It's his guns, because that's the best present you can give a children is a weapon. That technically that's also a reference to Christmas Story, is you'll shoot your eye out type of situation.
Hey, that's a good point. Yeah, I like that, from a father figure too. So then it shows him sitting, and this is actually another Christmas Story reference. So he goes and he sits, and then he punches Yondu in the shoulder, and Yondu punches him on the shoulder, and that's very Christmas Story as well. So that was really nice. And then they shoot off into space, and nothing bad ever happens to the Guardians ever. And I cried.
But yeah, just in a nice little Christmas thing.
I think Marvel is 2 for 2 on holiday specials.
Very excellent. I just hope that Guardians 3 doesn't make this one too bittersweet to watch. next Christmas.
Yeah. I feel like maybe I should watch it a third time this Christmas because I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch it again. Like, I'm legitimately worried about this.
Yeah.
We have the trailer for Guardians 3 out now, and I'm legitimately worried right now.
They're gonna be playing with some emotions there, even more so than this Christmas special.
Yeah, this was like sweet emotions, like yeah.
Well, that's the other. We talked about the Christmas presents they were giving each other. You forgot that Mantis gave Drax funny little man.
I was gonna say that because I kept saying he loved his funny little man. That was the sweetest moment ever. He opens it up and he just starts jumping up and down and squealing, and it's his funny little man.
It's awesome. Like, the comedic timing of Dave Bautista as that character,
it's crazy.
It's so good. And like, to see a man of that size and that build and that looks like that just like have child exuberance it's just funny.
They literally can't kill off Drax. They can't, because like he's perfect as it. Like, what this character only exists with Dave Bautista being this character.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some like comic book purists are a little upset because Drax in the comics is quite like, he's not a comedic character.
Oh, but he's so good this way.
And I'm like, well, you have the comic version. That's fine.
I agree.
This is the movie version, and it works really well with the tone and everything.
Fits Guardians so well. Like, he's perfect. Literally, I was thinking about the first Guardians movie, and some of my, like, there's some excellent lines in it and excellent moments in it that just caught you off guard. And one of my favorite ones is when he's saying, "Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast."
I still maintain that the first Guardians movie is probably the best standalone.
I'll give you that. It's definitely might be the most
movie.
watchable for sure. Anyway, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Love Guardians.
Absolutely loved it. This is a great special. Werewolf by Night was 100% awesome. It was perfect for spooky season. It was like layers of good. This is perfect for festive season, and it's layers of good, and you can really tell the Star Wars influence on this.
Oh yeah.
But like, so much better.
Well, because Guardians itself, like as a movie series trilogy, was heavily influenced by Star Wars.
Yes, it was.
It's a space opera.
It's a space opera, yeah.
And a really well done space opera, but it's still, you got your Star Wars influence in that.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's so good.
So like, it just works.
It just worked on every level. It was like a perfect Christmas. It was a perfect Christmas special.
So if you haven't seen it, and us spoiling it all now hasn't ruined it for you, just go watch it.
And listen to the soundtrack. It's so much fun.
Good soundtrack.
It's really so much fun.
Just like both Guardians movies so far.
Yes.
And I'm sure Volume 3 will be
Oh man.
Good
Yeah.
soundtrack
This
as well.
is actually
maybe some sad power ballads.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing as bad is gonna happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I literally don't know if I'm worried now about watching this movie. But this was great. So far, I listen to a lot of Christmas music. I start like November 1st listening to Christmas music. I have listened to the music from this special like, I don't know, 8 times already, and we only watched it a week ago. So good.
And we have seen it twice already now, so
yeah. And I'm serious. I think I'm gonna watch it a third time.
It's short. It's like, it's shorter than Rudolph maybe, and that's like a short Christmas special.
It's right in the same vein,
ballpark,
like the same amount of time that you want to dedicate to it. Yeah. So highly recommend. Yeah, good job. So anything to add about Guardians other than watch it?
Just watch it.
Yeah, it's so good. All right. Well, that's our special.
That's my special music.
It was so special. That special music. All right, so I'm Krysta.
And I'm Brandon.
And we'll return to your previously scheduled programming next.
And happy holidays.
Happy
and
holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Aw, Merry Christmas. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here.
Yeah.
Or there. Or everywhere. Or anywhere. That's the words to the song. All right, happy Christmas. Bye.